Hi, and welcome to the Dr. Shelley Meyer YouTube channel and the Women in Medicine Be the Change podcast. This is a new podcast that's recording the same time as the channel is recording. And as you probably noticed, if you've been to this channel before, that it used to be functional medicine based because I'm a family medicine doctor and a functional medicine doctor and a dietitian. But I'm shifting with a new chapter in the channel to help serve women in medicine who may be experiencing burnout or frustration with their current positions and providing inspiration for them to reclaim their mental and physical health and rediscover their love of medicine. So I hope you enjoy this new pivot, this new change. Please like, subscribe, and share this video out if you know anybody that could be helped, even if it's not a woman in medicine. Men could find information from this podcast. Women in other fields could find information from this podcast and this YouTube channel. So please share it out and be sure to mention in the comments any questions or comments you have. I love hearing your comments, so please do that. Leave that in the comments. And I'll be still posting every Friday. So join me for this new version of my YouTube channel and this brand new podcast. Hello, and welcome to the Dr. Shelley Meyer channel and the Women in Medicine Be the Change podcast. And I'm so excited to welcome Dr. Nadia Lee. She is a functional medicine doctor, but she didn't start out that way, and she has her own practice. And I'm excited for her to tell her very profound story that relates to burnout and relates to the mission here on the channel and on the podcast, and helping women in medicine reclaim their mental and physical health and discover a love for medicine again, because sometimes we've lost that when we're burnt out. So Nadia, Dr. Lee, can you tell us your story and tell us a little bit about what brought you to your path that you're following right now in medicine?
Thank you so much, Shelley. I'm so grateful to be here. And
I'm so happy to have you here.
My path, basically, I started with my med school and I started doing my residency in Hahnemann University Hospital. After completing my residency, I started as an academic hospitalist with Penn. Mm-hmm. And you know how difficult it is, like with residency, you have 80-hour weeks. And I was hoping that at the end of it, I'll finally be able to practice medicine and it will be really awesome. Right. And when I started practicing, initially it was a lot of fun because I think it was like really being able to put to practice what you had learned in the last 3 years and be able to see the impact of that medicine. But what I noticed when I was doing my practice in the hospital was that, you know, it was like the same patients that were seen again and again and again. And the reason was the same issue that, you know, that you can give them as many medications as you want, but if you don't control the environment at home, you know, what they're eating, you know, what their lifestyle is, they're going to come back. You know, it doesn't matter. I mean, the medications can only do so much. And so I really wanted to explore that side of things. But first of all, there was no opportunity, you know, to do that. And I attempted to do that. And I attempted to be part of a patient safety committee, because we wanted to know, how do we keep these people safe when they go home? Like, how do we prevent these readmissions? You know, it was almost like it was my own effort. Like there was no support, you know, to kind of help me, you know, do what I wanted to do. And at the same time, I started doing masters in public health from Hopkins because I wanted to understand this phenomena we called health literacy, in terms of why is it that patients and us, our communication is not at the same length. You know, how can we make sure that what we are telling them, that they really understand us and we understand what they are trying to tell us, right? Because it has to be a two-way street. So while I'm doing my full-time work, I'm doing my master's, you know, I was feeling like, you know, the harder I tried to innovate, the harder I tried to make a difference, the more pushback I was getting from the system that, look, your goal is not really to do all of that stuff. Your goal is to see patients. And, you know, when we get trainings, the trainings were not about patient outcomes. The training was about how to code, how do we get more money? And I don't think I have a problem with that. I mean, I understand that if you are providing a service, you do want to be able to get money for the service.
Of course.
But the question is that, like, the service that we are providing is actually going in the drain because the patient is coming to us again and again and again. So we are not addressing the root cause of the problem. So, I mean, at that point in time, with the way things were going, see more patients and see even more patients, that I loved teaching. So we were teaching medical students, we were teaching residents. But imagine if you had 18 patients to see and then you had to teach. I mean, how is it even possible?
No.
And every year it was the same problem. We are not meeting the RVUs. We are not making enough money. Well, we can't make enough money, I mean, because the hospital was located in a population that was in need. They didn't have the best insurance. I mean, so it was a very tough situation. And with all of this going on, this whole frustration, of not being able to do what I really wanted to do, and being in a context which was not really supportive, of what I really wanted to do, I was starting to lose my self-worth. Actually, I was almost feeling like, there is going to be really no end to this, and I'm not succeeding no matter how hard I try. And that started kind of affecting my personal life. And a point came where, I completely, broke down. And I remember calling the crisis line, and I wanted to talk to somebody. It was a weekend, and I'm sitting in my office, and I'm trying to say, who do I talk to? Because I was crying and I was crying and I was crying, and I couldn't stop myself. I said, I really need to talk to somebody, like, somebody who I can ask, do you think there's hope for me?
Right.
And so I did pick up the phone, and I don't know who that person was because he never told me his name. But it was really nice to talk to him, because I think I said to him that, look, this is what's happening in my work life. And, this is why I'm frustrated on my personal side of the equation. And, he said to me that, I don't know if everything will work out the way you want, but I can tell you that you just have to be patient. And I said, well, okay.
I'll try.
I just want to hear somebody who's telling me that, look, it may not be the way you want, but at least it will get better. So it was very nice. But I think at that point in time, it was so interesting. I talked to one of my colleagues, and I said to her that, there are things I want to do, and I'm looking at the best interest of my patients, and I'm looking at the best interest of this institution. I want this institution to grow. I want to be the person who helps the institution to grow. Am I asking something which I should not?
Right.
And she was very honest, and I have to tell you, I'm really grateful to her. At that time, her reply sounded to me like very dry and very brutal. But now that I think about it, I think she was very honest. And I think that had she not been as honest as she was, I wouldn't have made the decision to leave. And she said to me, Nadia, they want you to do something. If you want to do something else, you need to find a place that would honor and respect what you want to do.
It's good to hear that honesty, isn't it? Because you're like, I'm not going to keep spinning my wheels then, right?
Exactly. Because I did feel almost like a hamster, trying to kind of move and going nowhere. And that's when, I gave my resignation. And then I thought that I should go into the outpatient setting on the clinic side of things, because I thought it will be probably a better place where I can help the people who come into the hospital, who come out of the hospital. I can have them stay at home and be able to do that. And when I saw patients in the outpatient setting, there was something very interesting I found. I found that I was basically becoming a prescription writer.
Yes, that's how I felt too.
I would write one prescription, and then it would not get control. I would write a second prescription. And then the other thing that I noticed was, some of these people, because they would first have hypertension, and then they would go on to develop high cholesterol, and then they would go on to, develop diabetes. And so I was again seeing that, I wasn't able to get to the end of it, and then when they would have so many issues, the list of medications kept on growing. And And then on top of that, I was told, well, you have 10 minutes. And,
Yes,
you know,
I know.
and I'm like, well, there's so many problems, you know, and there are so many medications. And how am I supposed to do that? And I remember one time I had this woman was sitting in front of me going through a divorce. She was really sad. She was crying in the room. And I was feeling so bad about what this woman was going through. I was trying to kind of help her calm down and explain certain things and provide her a different mindset of looking at her situation, you know. And I'm getting knock after knock after knock on my door. Dr. Ali, there are 2 patients waiting. Dr. Ali, you have to finish this. And I was feeling so bad. I mean, I felt so bad. And I really didn't know what to do at that point in time, because it was almost like, you know, why am I even here? What am I doing here? Like, you know, so at that point in time, things were, you know, were becoming very clear that I really needed to, this is not a system for me.
Right.
And because of, you know, when I was at Penn trying to do my master's in public health at that time, you know, because of that breakdown that I had, you know, and I was quite depressed after that time. I was talking to a friend of mine and I said to her, look, I feel I'm depressed, you know, it's affecting my work, it's affecting my personal life, and I want to do something about it. And she goes, Nadia, take an antidepressant.
Oh, that's the answer, right? The magic pill.
The magic pill. And I said, no, I'm not taking that. And she looked at me and she was very surprised. She's like, you know, but we do give it to our patients. And I said, yes, we do give it to our patients, but I'm worried because I have read too much about it. And, you know, there's so many side effects, and the side effects start before the actual effect, and the effect takes about a month, and then you can't get off of it. And she was worried about me. And I said, look, I'm not committing any suicide, so please don't worry about me, but I have to find another solution. That was when I started reading about what are the other approaches, you know. And that was the first time I got introduced to the idea that there is something called functional medicine, there's something called integrative medicine. And it was amazing to see the amount of literature, scientific evidence on these modalities. And, you know, honestly, I can tell you that when people used to talk about those modalities, you know, my friends would say they went to an acupuncturist, or, you know, they went for like this, some chiropractic manipulation. I would look at them and I would say, why would you do that?
And now look at you.
Now look at me. I would tell them, like, yeah, I don't know why they have to go to all of these things. Nobody can really explain them. Who knows if they're even making a difference or not.
Right.
And when I looked at the literature, I was actually embarrassed, you know, because as a physician, not to know that the other modalities where there's actually scientific evidence. I mean, that is really sad, you know, that I didn't know about it. And then I started doing the yoga that I used to do before, and the meditation, which I was into before, but now I knew why I was doing it. I knew how it was really working on my parasympathetic nervous system. And I was paying attention to what I was eating, which I wouldn't because there was no time, you know. And so now, you know, I was doing all of that stuff. And that is when I was like, yeah, that's it. I mean, I can't do this anymore. And I resigned. And I am really, really grateful because my resignation was written by my husband, who said, you know,
Wow.
I think you really need to do that. And I said to him that, look, I have no experience of running a practice. Forget about integrative medicine practice. I don't even know how to run a conventional
regular practice.
So he said to me that, Nadia, I think I want you to be happy. You know, I think that that's more important. And if you lose some money, that's okay, you know, because the most important thing is you will do what you want to do. You will make the kind of difference you want to make, you know, and you've been wanting to do this for a very long time.
Right. It's good to have that support and somebody to kind of push you over into that, what you need to do. Yeah.
And so I'm so grateful for that resignation letter. And it was almost like what he said gave me a lot of self-worth. You know, I was like, yes, you know, I've been told I'm not supposed to do that. I don't think I can do that, you know, but there is somebody who thinks I can do that. And it's nothing to do with what I'm earning. It's to do with what I really want to do. It's really my passion, and I should be able to pursue my passion. And that was the beginning of my starting my practice from literally zero patients.
Yes.
And the best part about it was that, I had seen a couple of different systems. I had been in an inpatient setting, I've been in an outpatient setting, and now I could create a system which would be a system which would not have all the issues that those two systems had.
Right.
And I don't know of a third system, but I know that I want to create a system which would be the system without any of those issues.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think I'm very grateful. I feel I'm so blessed because not only was I able to create that, but I was able to do it very successfully. And I can tell you, when I started that, I would not have thought in my dreams where I am right now.
Right. Yeah. I know. I'm so impressed with that. We're at the end. We're going to talk about everything you do because you offer a lot at your clinic. It's really, really impressive. From one functional med to doc to another. I love it. But let's step back for a second and, well, not step back, but look at the situation, the sad situation that we see medicine or practitioners being put in, and especially women in medicine. And what do you think keeps women in medicine in positions that they are feeling burnout, that they feel stuck, that they know it causes tremendous amounts of stress? Why are they staying?
Why are they staying in that position, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think that one of the most important reasons is that, in our modeling, when we grow up, right, we are taught to compromise.
Yes.
Okay. And unfortunately, compromises do not work. Although we are taught that compromise is the best solution, compromise is not a solution. Compromise simply means that you are saying, oh, I'm stuck and I should be happy despite being stuck.
Right.
And the two cannot go together. You cannot be stuck and you cannot be happy. You can either be stuck or you can be happy. Right?
I agree.
Things cannot happen, right?
Yeah, something has to change.
Exactly. So, but there is another way of what is being said to you. What is being said to you is also that you are not so worthy so as to deserve anything better. That is why just be grateful for what you have.
Right. Be grateful for this job you have, right?
And I remember my first job, when I got the job, I was so happy. I was like, oh my God, this is so great. They think I can be part of the institution. And I never, ever negotiated my first salary. Which is
like, oh, they're going to give me money. Great.
Yeah, exactly. I was so happy. And then, my second job, I negotiated the initial time when I was being offered. And after that, I was there for about 3.5 years. I never got a single raise, which is very interesting.
Wow.
One time I even asked for a raise, but here's how I asked for a raise, which is very interesting. So it was 3 years, no raise. And actually about over, I think 100 or 200 people were laid off by closure that third year when I was there. And I go in to talk about a salary raise. And this is what I tell my HOD. I said, I feel so sorry about the people who, have been let go. And I don't want my salary to affect another person, And so I don't know if I'm asking for a raise or I'm giving him a reason why he should say that.
Right. You're right. We can't give you any more money. You shouldn't ask for any more.
So I'm justifying why you should say no to me. This is how I was asking for a raise.
Yeah.
So again, I think, and it's interesting that I talked to him about a raise, and then within a few months of that, a new faculty was added. Okay. And the new faculty got a much better package. Which is really, and I'm thinking myself, there must be a reason. She must have done X, Y, and Z to deserve a better package.
Yeah.
So it was really interesting how my low self-worth came in my way. And I'll tell you one other example of low self-worth, which I still, when I think about it, I'm like, I can't believe this. There was, I don't know if you remember this, but ACGME at one point in time wanted the internal medicine programs to create an evaluations committee.
Okay. No, I
And
don't know.
the rule for that was that I know this because I was an APD, Associate Program Director with the Internal Medicine Program.
Okay.
And one of the conditions of that committee was the chair of the committee has to be a faculty member other than the program director. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And so my PD said to me that he wanted me to be the chair. And I'm so excited. And I'm like, wow, this is such a great opportunity. I'm going to do my best because I love the residents anyways. It's going to give me another way to help them and to grow them, And, this would also help me develop some leadership skills, right? Which is so great. So we have this monthly meeting where it's announced whatever new initiatives are taken, and I'm excited my name is going to be announced. And then there are a number of items on the agenda, and there comes my name, and he goes, well, Nadia is going to be chairing the committee because unfortunately ACGME is not allowing me to be the chairperson.
That's quite the introduction. Thank you.
Exactly. I was like, oh, great. Thank you.
Well, I can't do it, so I guess she'll do it.
Exactly. And so I think that this is how, you can be a woman. Of course, if you're a woman, you're always not good enough. Just the fact that, if you're a man, they will automatically offer you a better pay.
Yes, they don't have to even negotiate it. It just comes.
They don't have to
naturally.
negotiate it. They have, because they have a family, of course. They have to take care of the family. We don't have to take care of anybody, right?
No. So, we're just working for fun because we love it.
Yeah, exactly. And then the other thing they will often think about is like, is she going to get pregnant?
Yes.
That's definitely one of the things they have in mind. And, and this is especially the case if you're a woman of color.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm a woman of color, and I'm an immigrant.
Mm-hmm.
So, everything that could possibly be there.
It's stacked against you. Yeah. Exactly. Which shouldn't be the case, but it is, unfortunately.
It is. So I think that lack of self-worth, whether it is conditionally, like, how we grow up, we are told like to make those compromises. And then we continue to make those compromises, not only in the family, but also at workplace, in relationships.
Yes,
we compromise across the board.
Mm-hmm.
And the result is that, we never are able to fulfill our dreams the way we should, the way we have the right to do so.
Yes. Yeah, I agree. Well, what was I going to ask you next? And then what resources helped you find the strength? Was it just that point of desperation, or was it just that you had done the functional medicine research before you started? Like, what resources did you turn to when you were looking?
So I think that, it was not that I was not prepared. Like, for example, I completed my, ABIHM, right? American Board of Integrative Holistic
I did mine too.
Right. So I had already done, I completed my paper because they used to have the boards, right? Remember, they used to have boards.
Right. Yeah.
So I completed my board, and I actually completed my board. I said to my faculty members that I have completed it. And I had nobody ever say, so Woody, how do you plan to use it really? They were like, oh, congratulations. I was like, thank you.
Like, I can see it means a lot to you.
So I think that even though I had that, I was still not ready to make the move. So I think that, one of the things that happens when you actually when you get traumatized. So trauma has a lot of side effects. Like, trauma puts you to the risk of high cortisol. It creates a lot of bad memories. It makes you very anxious. It makes you very depressed. Yes. But there is another side of trauma too. And the other side of trauma is that, it makes you, when you come out of it, you are this person who's lost everything. You can't fail anymore.
Right.
You have fallen so low. How low can you possibly be, right? And at that point in time, it's all about winning, because whatever you're going to do, it will be better than what it is right now,
Yes.
So I think when you reach that point, you reach the point where you're like, okay, whatever I have to lose, I have already lost. I had lost the trust in my colleagues and the institutions that I worked in to be able to support me. Okay. And not only I had lost that trust, actually there was a time where, you are, you know, forget about getting the raise or forget about how the system works against you. I had instances where you're humiliated for things like, oh, you were late for 10 minutes. Oh, how unprofessional. So, I mean, there was, forget about appreciating, there's actually depreciation.
Depreciate, yeah.
And so when you reach that point, you are like, you know what? That's it. I mean, I can't. This is the point of, like, where you say, we are done here. And you say to yourself, I've lost everything. I have nothing to lose.
Yes.
And that, when you reach that point, that is when a fighter is born.
Yeah. And that's when freedom happens, when you just decide, well, it's all gone. I know where to go but up, right?
Yeah, no way to go. And then I think what happened was that, when at that point in time, the shift that happened was that it told me that, I am going to call my own shots no matter what. I don't care about any of these systems. And so when you resign, you have to give 3 months notice, right? In medicine, you have to give 3 months notice.
Yes.
Within the first 2 weeks, I was actually given a job offer. Interestingly, this was a really amazing person who I met. And he said, Dr. Ali, we're giving you 50 grand more than, what your previous job was given. You can start as soon as you can. If you want, we can start under the table for you 1 day a week if you want to do that. I said, I don't do anything under the cover. I don't know what made him think I'm going to work under the cover.
Yeah.
But I said, I'm not asking for any under the cover position. And I said that I'm not going into a conventional position. Even if you give me 50, 60, 80, 90, whatever. That is not what I'm doing. We are done here. I've tried inpatient, I've tried outpatient. I'm very clear I want to do integrative medicine. He goes, okay, Dr. Ali, if you want integrative medicine, I can give it to you. But it is, I think the place he was talking about was about 55 minutes drive from my home. And he said, there, we already have people really interested. We can take you, we can immediately get you started. I said, no, I'm not driving 55 minutes from my home, because I want something sustainable, and I appreciate you even thinking about what I want to do, not just what you want me to do. I appreciate that. And I said to him, look, give me one thing. Forget about giving me a job, because I know you currently don't have a position for me. Whatever you have, you've explained to me. I understand. And I would have loved to work, but this position is too far. And the other thing which I was concerned about, which I didn't tell him at that time, was that he was part of a system. And when you're part of a system, it's a huge problem, right? Because then when the physician comes into the picture, the physician has to use X, Y, and Z things that you have in the system. If you don't, then there's a problem, because that's the whole idea
of a system,
of the setup, right? And so that was my concern too. And but I didn't say that to him, because he was so nice to me, and he was able to kind of offer me something that I wanted to do. So I said to him, look, I only want one thing of you. If you can be very kind enough to spare me one room that I can rent.
Good. Yeah.
In your system, wherever you have, this is the place where I live. This is the distance I'm looking for. And I'll come there for a couple of days a week, and I'm going to go ahead and do my practice there. And he was so nice. He actually did that for me. And I'm very grateful to this person. It was very nice. And I was there. It was an internal medicine practice, family medicine practice. And then I was there. It was interesting that, I knew I was on the side of the internal medicine physicians group. And you will not believe, I was there for about probably a couple of years. And I got one referral from there.
That's all. Wow.
That's all. And it was very interesting, because the referral was for a very young guy. He had been to every specialist for his nausea. He had this nausea they couldn't figure out. He's so young, and the physician had sent him to every possible place. He had every single test on the face of the earth. So one time I was going out my office and he kind of stops me. He said, I have this patient. I really don't know what to do. Can I send him to you? I said, yeah, please go ahead. And so he came to me, we worked together. He actually had SIBO and he actually got really well. And after he got well, we said we can meet whenever, now that you're good. I mean, he was getting married. He wanted to kind of be like, can I get this over with so I can get married? And so like we got him into where he wanted to be. And then a few years after I'd actually moved from that place, one day I was speaking at a functional forum and I had this woman who comes to me and she said, are you Dr. Ali? I said, yes. She said, do you know who I am? I said, no. She goes, I am the mother of the kid that you treated.
Oh,
and
lovely.
now he has a baby. And I was
how nice.
God. Oh my
I'd
God.
love to hear those stories. That's so great.
So it was very interesting that, and I honestly don't think the physicians are at fault for not referring, I mean, they're just like I was. I would have never, ever thought of this being something that could really work.
Yeah.
So,
Oh, it's been so great talking to you. I want to share with everyone what you're doing so they can see, what a great practice you have going on now. So where is your practice located?
So we are in Wayne, Pennsylvania, suburb of Philadelphia, Pennsylvania.
Nice. And what's your website?
It's theholistichealing.org, www.theholistichealing.org.
Great. And I've been to it, and I love that you have Ayurveda, mind-body medicine, aromatherapy, nutrition, treating all kinds of chronic conditions that a lot of us functional medicine doctors see, SIBO, like you said, and probably what are the most common things you're seeing from day to day in your practice?
Autoimmune diseases are huge. Gut issues are huge.
Yes, gut issues are huge.
Hormone issues, hormonal imbalances, and now, Alzheimer's, MS, and those neurological diseases, which really can affect the quality of life of people significantly. We see those quite a bit.
Yes, and I'm sure you can make a big difference there, especially with quality of life. Well, it's been so great to talk to you. Thank you so much for coming on. I'm going to share all this information of how to follow you and find you and see what you're doing on the show notes for the podcast, and then in the description for the YouTube channel. So thanks so much for joining. I feel like I could talk to you forever, but you have done such amazing things. And thank you so much for being vulnerable and sharing your story, because I think that's so important for other women to know.
Definitely. And I think that if there are women who are facing burnout, who feel they have low self-worth, please feel free to reach out to me, because I do offer coaching for women who actually go through it because of my own experience. And even if you just want to chat, sometimes you just need somebody to talk. You may not just need coaching. You might need just what I need, somebody to call at a time of crisis and say, is it going to be better? How can it be better? I'm happy to talk to you.
Oh, that's so kind of you. And I think there are plenty of women out there who could use that. So thanks for joining us.
You're welcome. And thank you for doing what you're doing.
Yes, thanks for all you do. Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
If you enjoyed this episode, please leave me a review on Apple Podcasts or Spotify or wherever you listen to your podcasts. That will help the podcast grow. And please if you're watching this on YouTube, please subscribe, and share this out. And please join me and hit the bell to be notified. And join me every Friday when I post a new video on the YouTube channel and a new podcast on the podcast channel. Also, if you're interested in supporting the channel, I would really love for you to check out my Patreon page and become a patron. That will help the channel grow, help the podcast grow, and help keep this mission going for women in medicine to avoid burnout and to help them reclaim their mental and physical health and rediscover the love of practicing medicine again. So if you want to join me on my Patreon page and become a patron, I will have the information in the description, and then I'll have it in the show notes for the podcast. Thanks so much. We'll see you next time.